Hi guys, just thought I'd hop on while I'm motivated. I've been informed that it's unnerving looking at my big head and nostrils every time the phone slips. But I am walking the dog while I do this, so do apologise for getting a good view of my nostrils. I've trimmed them regularly. Unfortunately and fortunately in some ways, I'm a hairy bastard. Love having the beard because definitely provides some warmth in this cold. So that's something I'm thankful for. There's definitely unwanted hair, let's just say. Thankful for it in this shitty weather. But that's all. So, yeah, it was a gorilla or something. Said, hold the phone away from your gargantuan head. Out that far. No, I'm not holding it like that. Sorry, pal. It's not comfortable. But you said you enjoyed the video, so that's, I guess, thanks. I know I have a massive big mallet head, so I can't deny that, you're right there. And I imagine it isn't very pleasant looking up my my nose. I thought that was funny. That was a good comment, and you enjoyed the video, so cheers. Didn't take any offence with that. I'm offended. That's an interesting one actually, because this video is going to be, I touched on it briefly, but as I say, sometimes I don't have a chance to make a video as long as I'd like to be. I'd like it to be. I'm out and about and get a free moment where I've got a bit of motivation and energy, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's do it. Especially like if you are mentally ill, you learn that whenever there's a moment where you feel productive, you take it, you know. I try and get my productive moments and just do everything in that time, cram it all in, which is a bit counterproductive because then you end up burning yourself out. But look, it's the way I've learned to cope. So the question I asked in a shorter video was, are Generation Zoomer, Gen Z, soft? And I answered and said yes, 100%. Based on previous generations, you know, they definitely are. There's no denying it. And I'm part of that generation, so it was not easy for me to admit. And then I linked it to a video I made about the comfort zone. You know, it's where dreams go to die, and it is. But do you think all these ideas are just coming to Gen Z? You know, are they just happening like out of the blue? They're not thinking all this stuff up themselves, you know. Nobody ever seems to delve into the reasons why they're soft. So while I admit, yes, definitely the softest generation, you know, when I think of some of the stuff that previous generations had to do, and I want to emphasise that because a lot of times you'll do anything you have to survive. I was talking about how mental illnesses develop, but it's really a coping strategy to a very unhealthy environment, you know. Survival is what you're thinking of, and I think that's a good one to use again, because if you're told, oh, don't climb that tree, you'll fall, you're not allowed to run in the schoolyard or playground or anything because you'll hurt yourself, you know, all this helicopter parenting, you're going to be soft, you're going to be weak. You know, those really annoying kids, you know, that are really frail and they're never allowed to do anything, and you know, the ones that are really cocky, like they're always quoting things from books and educating you in a real passive aggressive way. I used to hate those kids, but that's what we're creating. We really are. I'm very thankful to my mum and dad for, well, my mum mainly. Have to give her huge credit, you know. But I am thankful to my dad for giving me tough love in a way, because it's old school. You realise tough shit, you have to get on with stuff, which is a good lesson to learn. He's just hopping over to see his buddies. Oh, Alf got his hair done, by the way. FYI. But no, I'm gonna. Oh, here they come. Oh, here they are. Yeah. Oh, there they are. Good boy. Lovely little things there. Only 3 of them. Yeah. I love dogs. Very hard for me to hate a dog, so if I hate a dog, you know it's a bad dog. I love those little guys. They came into the house, as I said, and started licking me in the face while I was asleep. They're lovely little guys. What was I saying? Yeah, like my dad, like say when he was my coach in football, it was always what you did wrong, but that makes you want to improve on stuff, you know. I get that. Look, that actually is something valuable. It's like, yeah, when you do well, I think it's Irish dads in general, like it's a thing, you know. Irish dads are known for being very harsh, and I get it, you can't be given a pat on the back all the time. But I heard a very interesting thing. You know, Terry Venables, who was the coach of England, and he coached Paul Gascoigne, who was obviously shown that he was quite a sensitive person. And because as well, Terry Venables said to him in an interview, Paul Gascoigne has ADHD, bipolar disorder, alcoholism, drug addiction, gambling addiction. But I think that's all a result of bipolar disorder. God love him, he's not had an easy time. And my dad would have watched him playing. Terry Venables said to Paul Gascoigne, I told you played well even when you didn't, because I knew you wouldn't play well. It wouldn't do you any good to tell you played shit. You know? And I felt that as well. I felt like I wasn't the type to play better if someone shat all over me and told me that I was useless. I had a lot of really harsh coaches, my dad being one of the worst, you know. Taught me that, you know, you're not going to get praise all the time. I was seeking a connection, you know, that's what I was really seeking more than anything. Just to tell me you're proud of me and I did well, thanks. Again, talking about male role models, when you fuck up you get called out, yeah, for sure, but also, everything doesn't have to be negative. I've just got fucking man in the match and you're telling me that you looked tired, you looked unfit, you looked slow. Like, what fucking good does that do? You know, if you want to improve in your game and you want to get professional in something, yeah, fuck it, you gotta get tough, you gotta work your arse off. Sport is a great analogy for life. You know, you want anything in life, yeah, you gotta put in a level of work. But it's not the sole fucking reason. You know? And I mean, you can't just blame the Gen Zs for being weak. Why are they weak? They're not being taught anything. You're being told you have to succeed at everything. You know, it's not okay to just be, you know, just to try hard. You have to be the best. You've got to succeed at everything, and you've got to get it first time around. You're not allowed to try and fail at something. There's a real lackadaisical attitude in general, I think. You know, and then a real throwaway comment used is just, oh, well, things are much easier for you now. You know, you've got the world at your feet. So why are you crying? Why are you whinging? You know, you're just soft. Everything's easier now. And yet you're saying you can't do this or it's too hard. Why don't we ever delve into the problem? We never delve into it. Ever. So, like, talk about my dad there. Very tough love. You're not getting any praise, you know, at all. A little bit of validation. Like, you need validation from parents. particularly I think a dad, a son needs it. But me and my brother were just, you'd leave them off, they'll be fine. You look tired, you looked unfit, you're going to just, you were weak there, you didn't make that tackle, you constantly just reminded of what you did wrong, which gets in on you, you get very self-critical. And I can tell you now, all that criticism, all that did for me was make me be highly critical of myself and be a perfectionist, thinking, I have to do more, enough is never enough. And I did that, and everybody praised me for it. You want to tell me it wasn't tough working while I was in college? I had an intense course, 45 hours a week, some years, like 3 lab reports, tests during the week, barely enough time to even study for them. And I worked as well, all throughout college, bar my final year where I took it off to dedicate time to my project. I saved up money, I worked during the summer, and then I took time off during college to make sure I got my degree. And now employers have all these reasons why they won't hire you, and you're supposed to feel grateful when you get a job that is not properly trained. Night shift, look, I think you're going to have to do that anyway. I'm not complaining about that. I actually didn't mind it in the end. I know some people say I'd never do night shift. Look, I don't mind it. I think it'd be okay. And look, fuck it, I get it. There's things in life you have to do that you don't want to do. That's perfectly fair. I'm willing to accept that. And our generation needs to give themselves a kick up the hole sometimes and go, what do I want to gain? What do I want to achieve? But within reason, even just started coaching back yesterday. Got to give the lads a Bronco run. I've done so many of either 1Ks, beep tests or Bronco runs. So finally setting one for the guys and getting them to suffer. Oh, I'm an evil bastard. But they're good lads, and I don't find, I'm not a critical coach. I say to them, you guys know you could have played better than that. You didn't give a full account of yourselves. Meaning, you're good players, but you didn't do it today. And they all know. They know that I'm firm but fair. I wouldn't even say I'm firm. I'm very reasonable, I think, as a coach. If anything, I'd be soft, but I don't mind. Because at the end of the day, I hated a coach that was really critical, that made you do loads of laps. That was another thing though. When we had coaches who we knew were strict but fair, they didn't even have to say anything. They'd nod. They'd call your name, nod, and you knew you'd fucked up and you had to do laps, and you did them. I did them every time without question. That builds discipline. That is good. You need it. The South African coach that I had, Gareth, great coach. He wanted us all to get somewhere, and he believed in us, and he was tough, but he was fair. If you fucked up and you were taking the piss, he'd literally just go, you ever watch The Weakest Link? Bye-bye. Thick South African accent. Dan, bye-bye. And off you'd go. We used to do, depending on how much you fucked up, there were 4 rugby pitches and you'd have to do laps of them until he told you to stop. But that's the thing, he has final say. He is the coach. You respect him. We need people like that. That's the thing, a coach can have a huge impact on a young fella's life. A teacher can have a huge impact on a young fella's life. And a young girl, I hope you don't think I'm sexist. I don't know from a female perspective. That's why I'm saying it, I don't really want to comment on that because I'm male, so could be completely different for a woman, But Gen Z are soft because they're not allowed to fail, learn from it, and go again. And a lot of things, the trend that I really don't like, that I see is, oh, well, my dad did it, my brother did it, or my cousin does it, so I'll go into the same area, the same job, That is to an extent going into the comfort zone, and it might not be what you want, but it's easier to go, oh, well, my family do it, they can get me in for a job there, so I'll just do that. Now, I thought about that, I'd considered it, but I wasn't going to be working with my dad. he never wants to do stuff like that. It's just fuck off and don't bother me, you know. And as I say, we've bonded recently, and he's given me landed tools, and thanks for that. And got him a Christmas present. Nothing major, a bottle of wine and a box of chocolates. But in fairness, he was very grateful for it. He didn't expect it, and I kind of thought, I do feel bad for him in a way, just to grow up in the environment that he did. And look, he did something I couldn't even imagine doing. In many ways, like, he is weak, but in this sense, I couldn't even imagine moving to London and living over there on your own. Getting up at the hours that he did, working the hours he did, drinking as much as he did. Even in the worst times, I couldn't do as much drinking as he did. This tractor coming by. He did stuff that I never would even dream of, but I am also autistic, it's among other things. I went to get the assessment today. Wasn't really great, but I'll make a separate video kind of discussing that. But there are other challenges that I have additionally that I need to realise, like how many autistic kids would have done what I did. How many, in fairness to them, would have been told, you can't do this, you won't do that, because I was told a lot of those things. And how many parents are like, oh yeah, get him on Ritalin. So in fairness to my mum, she never put me on. Only antidepressants at the age of 15 to get me sleeping. She said I just never slept. So, my mum worked, she worked her arse off to pay for everything for me and my brother. Huge respect to her for that. She got herself sick because she was so worried about the pair of us. Both of us being mentally ill can't have been easy on her, and she dealt with all that. And in that sense, my dad was extremely useless and weak. Just didn't step up, Didn't deal with my autism. I wouldn't even say he dealt with it badly. He didn't deal with it, full stop. He was very unhelpful. And all that fell on my mum's shoulders, which she dealt with, she did a very good job. But when people say, oh, you'll never know what it's like to just call over to your friend's house, knock on their door. I did those things. Me and my mates used to always do that. Be gone for hours playing football. I'm so grateful we did have those things. Or anyone out take knock into the Dublin Mountains. Beautiful up there. We'd all meet up and we'd head up there, we'd climb up. Even as we got older, we wouldn't drive up and park. Although it's tempting now, isn't it? As you get more unfit. But I used to walk up the road, so if anyone knows it, it's very steep. There's a steep incline. Lovely coming down, not so good. Well, in fairness, coming down, it has its challenges. Your calves get a really good workout, your legs in general, to be fair, your quads get a really good pump. I didn't have social media until I was a lot older than everybody else. Like, lots of people in my year in primary school were getting phones, and they were only 9 or 10. I didn't get my first phone until I was about 13, 14, and I didn't want it. My mum said to me, I'm getting you a phone, you need it because I need to be able to contact you. I was like, okay. She said, oh, which one would you like? I just said, get me the cheapest one. The blockies. Drop them on the floor and they break the fucking floor. Oh, boy. Yeah. Looks lovely. So fluffy. But I climbed trees, I climbed walls. There was this wall down the end of our road that I kept on trying to climb. One of my mates could climb it and I couldn't, and I was determined to get up it. My arms were just flittered because it was bricks, so bare arms going up. I should have put sleeves on, but I was like, I'm fucking climbing it. Climbed up trees, I messed around, went to the park, Marley Park. Loved that park, great place, especially in the summer. We did all those things, and those are very good memories. They're brilliant memories. That I don't think a lot of people from my generation will even have. I think a good amount will, more than you think. Don't know if they appreciated it, but I remember we went to Marty Park for a game of football, and we were all, yeah, about, what would we have been? 21-ish, 22, and our fitness, Jesus. I was actually one of the fittest, which I was surprised at. I thought to myself, I'm going to be dying playing three-a-side football on an Astro pitch in Marty Park. So much fun. Just had a laugh at how much our fitness had declined. If you don't use it, you lose it. But it seems like no matter what you do, you're wrong, you know. People are saying in the comment section, don't believe anything the government tell you. Or, don't worry. Fucking hell, don't worry. I'm with you on that one. Completely with you. But everyone hammered home, you know, that they hammered home that you had to go to college or you were not going to amount to anything. They literally said, get a degree, go to college. And I'll be honest, our teachers didn't seem to have much faith in a lot of us. A couple of guys said want to go to UCD or Trinity College, which are obviously very prestigious colleges in Ireland, in Dublin. Lots of us didn't have the confidence because we were just told, oh, would you not consider doing a PLC post-leaving cert, you know. I think that's a good idea as well, though. I think we need to sell them a bit more. It's an Irish thing. It's like further education, you know. I think it's like the equivalent of community college in the US, because I know a lot of Americans watch. Got a good shot of my nostrils there. FYI, gorilla. But there are a number of reasons that this generation is softer than the previous. Like, previous generations were just allowed out and they fell and they injured themselves. Nobody was suing the school or all this bullshit. There wasn't this helicopter parenting. You went out, you injured yourself and you came back, you were fine. And I had that, you know. I went cycling up Ticknock before. Me and my mate came back covered in cuts and scrapes, and we enjoyed it. We had a good time, we had a good laugh. It was a lot of fun. Good boy. Yeah, we were flittered by the end of it, but we had a lot of fun. Like that brilliant quote from Rocky, ain't about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you get hit and keep getting up. Keep moving forward, Adrian. Good old Sly. But it's true, you know. It's why Richie McCaw is considered one of, if not the greatest, rugby players of all time. You know, because he was an open side flanker, which is a tough position, but he took some amount of punishment. He really did. The amount of hits that man took and still kept going was mightily impressive. I think everyone will agree. Anyone who knows rugby will say Richie McCaw was one tough son of a bitch. Not the biggest, but my God, he took some amount of hits and kept going. You know? And that's what you consider a tough guy. You know, and that's one thing that I really prided myself on, was getting all the cuts and the scrapes in rugby games, but keeping going, you know. And I think, like, that's why I make these videos. Like, a lot of you guys have left really interesting comments. There's people from previous generations who are like, they're soft, but here's why, and, you know, I'm happy I grew up when I did. It's shit nowadays. And there's people just telling me to get over myself and stop crying, and I'm like, fuck off. Just say that out straight. Fuck off. Like, there's obviously a lot of people in Ireland struggling, and there's a lot of people reaching out, thanking me and saying, "Oh, I appreciate it." They're asking me for advice too, and I'm like, yeah, by all means, ask away. I'm happy to help. And I'm not the toughest son of a bitch that ever lived, but I've fucking gone through challenges and come out the other side. I fucking have. Absolutely, like I have. Fair play to me. I wish I could say that more often. I wish I could have said that to the younger version, and I could have appreciated just how much I was doing. But look, you learn from your mistakes. That's a thing as well. You have to learn from your mistakes. You're not going to be perfect at everything. You're never going to be perfect at everything, and I can't tell you how nervous I was before doing any new activity. But I kept doing it anyway. Now, there is a point where it becomes too much stress too often, and that's just going to burn you out. You got to know your limits. But now I coach because gone back playing, had medication that was fucking up my head and my stomach. Physically just wasn't in the same shape, needed to get a handle on my drinking as well. Just my head, there was a lot of stress. You tell me I haven't been through challenges. Moving house, that's meant to be like a bereavement. They say that's like a bereavement in ways, that was so fucking stressful. We were all, our cortisol and adrenaline levels were through the fucking roof when we were moving house. My God, getting the place ready every week, while working a job, while in college. And of course our mum not being well, so me and my brother not being well either, so I had to step up even more. Sometimes I used to love work because it meant a bit of peace away from the stress of my household. My dad leaving, then coming back, then leaving. Never being a strong presence in the house. Family members not being sympathetic with me. Telling my mum how she should parent me, even though they weren't parents or very bad parents. And family members just not listening. Like, they'll say stuff to my mum and be like, "Oh, did you know this about autism?" She's like, yes. In fairness to her, she went through a lot of shit with me. She researched every fucking article there was. But it just goes over their head. It's like, Dan's fine, all the previous challenges gone. And now, don't get me wrong, I get on really well with my family, my mum's side, and they're all very supportive. But there's little moments where I'm like, I don't ask for any sympathy, really. And if I struggle with anything, oh, well, you just have to get on with it. It's like, how about a little bit of fucking empathy? I don't ask for much. Compared to where I was to where I'm at now, you wouldn't recognise me. The 12 and 13-year-old Dan is nothing like I am today. I couldn't, I was scared of my own, couldn't shite, couldn't talk to people. And how far I've come. That has all been through trying and failing, not succeeding at fucking everything. You're never going to. We've got to stop teaching people you have to be a success, you have to get everything right instantly. You're not going to. Ever. You're gonna fail, but you can move on. And if you get, like, the thing with me was being ashamed of myself if I got bumped in a rugby match, if I got tackled hard. Look, it's gonna fucking happen. It's always gonna fucking happen. You just gotta get used to it. And you're a tougher man for getting back up. Of course you are. The tough guy is the one who gets back up. He gets knocked down, but he gets back up. Try and fail, guys. Don't fail. As I was coming up with a good quote, I was saying was, try and fail, don't fail to try. It's like, by failing to prepare, we're preparing to fail. But the achievement isn't winning. Although it might seem, but the achievement is trying in the first place, which we've forgotten completely. That's my biggest reason, If you don't try stuff and fail, you're never going to know what you're good at and what you're bad at. And if you only stick with what you're good at, you're not going to learn fucking anything. You're going to learn that you always have to get your own way, and you're a cocky little prick. That's all you'll learn. Um, so try things, try everything. Like, I think I'm in a unique position to kind of go, like, you know, I understand what it's like to be a Gen-Zer, and I've seen people from my own generation who are weak as piss, you know. They cannot accept losing. They are so frail, and they only think of the winning, you know. I have to win, but it doesn't matter how I do it. I just have to get what I want. Sure, then what resilience are you getting? You know, you're never being taught that you can lose something. We need to actually ask why this shit is happening. Not just say, oh, you're all weak, you're all useless. Okay, well, help us. You know, like, if we acknowledge the problem, yeah, that is a huge problem. You know, like, people are told, I only want you going to college, nothing else is going to get you anywhere. Then my dad automatically changes. He's like, no, we got a trade. One that I could walk into with the degree I have now, but one that I don't want to do. You know, I realised from doing it that I didn't want to do it for the rest of my life, and the pay options aren't great in the future. Now, instrument technician, I think, might be having a resurgence, but that's beside the point. Everyone says go to college, then they say, oh, why are now young people getting into the trades? Because you fucking told us not to. Gen Z have been told go to college, we all go, and then guess what? There's no one to do the shitty jobs that you don't want to do. So you rely on people like cheap labour to come in and do it. Then Irish people are going abroad because they're not appreciated, and it's a bad cycle. But it's happening everywhere, you know. Like, it's in America, they talk about it too. Good boy. So it's a worldwide issue in first world countries where they don't want to pay the native workers as much, so they get cheap labour from abroad. Look, that's another issue altogether. But if you think that there's an end goal to anything, you know, like, there's an end to, this is a means to an end, you know, you'll do anything if you know it's to better yourself and your life. But if you don't see that, and I don't think a lot of Gen Zers do see it, of course they're going to be apathetic and unmotivated. So let's discuss that. I think that's something that we're just tiptoeing around and not acknowledging. That they don't see a future. It looks very bleak, you know, and looks like there's nothing to look forward to. And if you have nothing to look forward to, then you think to yourself, what is the fucking point of me working hard? Which just makes the cycle repeat itself. So, to summarise, are Gen Z weak or weaker than the previous generations? Absolutely, yeah. But also, what is being done about it? That's why I say we need good role models. You know, someone who you can base it off, someone who can teach you. It doesn't just come out of thin air, you know. Now, there's some skills that you will only get yourself. I fully accept that. But you also need a lot from your parents, your family, your immediate family, of course, and then mentors that you meet in your life, you know. And we don't have an awful lot of them, sadly. So maybe we should try and be that, you know. Sometimes it's just the luck of the draw. I was lucky to get into coaching when I did. And now I'm contributing positively to other people. That's what you need to be doing, you know. It's been an important topic. I just felt like I'd like to discuss. And guys, I would love your thoughts on this. What do you think? Are Gen Z weak? And if you agree with me and think yes, then say why. Don't just say, because like I said, there's a load of stupid comments. You don't agree with me? Fine. You don't have to. But tell me why. I think you'll struggle to find anyone that doesn't think Gen Z is weak, though. I'm saying they're weak, but I don't blame them. My generation. I say they, but it's me, realistically. Yeah, love your thoughts on this one. This is one I'd love as many comments as possible, so please leave it in the description below. Boosts the algorithm and all that jazz. Thanks, guys, and see you in the next one.